The Department of Consumer Affairs has recently released guidelines to regulate the influencer industry called Endorsement Know-Hows for celebrities, influencers, and virtual influencers on social media platforms. The rules are aimed at all influencers across social media and video platforms who will now have to disclose all material interests they receive in exchange for endorsing a product or service. According to a 2022 study, the reach of influencers in India has multiplied tremendously in recent years. On average, influencers reach more than 1 in 4 viewers on social and video platforms. 3 in 5 consumers are likely to try products after hearing about them from an influencer. Thus, if influencers impact consumer behaviors, how pertinent is it to regulate them?
I think regulations around influencers have been needed for a decade. I remember writing as far back as 2010-11, when blogs were very popular, and people we knew were taking money for endorsements or writing about things. And even on social media, you could see that there needs to be proper disclosure, just like there were disclosure norms that were required for paid media in traditional news. So I thought it was natural for disclosures to be there in the interest of transparency for consumers.
The penalty for not abiding by the guidelines is high. Influencers failing to disclose or engaging in false advertisements will amount to a violation of Consumer Protection Act of 2019. In accordance with the law, a fine of 10 lakh rupees may be imposed, which may increase to 50 lakh rupees on repeated offence. Further, such influencers may also be barred from promoting and endorsing any product or service for up to 3 years. The Consumer Protection Authority, or CCPA, said the guidelines have been drafted to safeguard consumer interests. We reached out to Salman Waris of TechLegis LLC to understand what prompted the government to introduce the guidelines now.
I think social media over the years have evolved, and in the last couple of years has evolved very quickly, at times blurring the lines between traditional media and social media, and also probably having more influence than the traditional media. So this was one space which was currently not specifically regulated as such. Even under the IT Act, there are no specific as such provisions dealing specifically with social media or social media influencers. So hence the need. So it's a gradual maturing of the market in the country, and the subsequent requirement.
Influencers in India are vastly spread. They range from financial influencers, food bloggers, to lifestyle influencers and fitness enthusiasts. Their age group is broad as well, ranging from kids below 18 to senior citizens. In fact, during the pandemic, when offline advertising rates fell, social media advertising grew by 46%. A study by digital marketing agency iQ's Wire indicates that micro-influencers, defined as people with 10,000 to 1 lakh followers, observed an increase in engagement by almost 60%. Salman Waris has a perspective on the ideal way to regulate such influencers.
The technology is evolving so quickly that there will be always a situation where the regulations themselves would be falling short in a very brief period of time. So while it's a good effort, I would say, and for the time being, maybe it's more important to have something in the form of a regulation rather than not having anything at all. Because we have seen that with some other laws, for example, the Data Protection Act. Since this is being done through the consumer under the Consumer Protection Act, so primarily the focus is the consumer and misinformation or the awareness of the consumer with regard to where social media influencers are advertising or promoting products. So to that end, I think it does meet the initial requirements.
The endorsement know-hows mandates some extra work by the influencers. The Department of Consumer Affairs, in its document, indicated that the disclosures must be prominent and extremely hard to miss. Disclosing only in the caption will not be enough. Influencers will have to superimpose the disclosure in case of an image. In case of a video, the disclosure must be in both video and audio format. Even live streams have not been left out. The document says that there should be a continuous display of disclosures. So, will such extra effort and due diligence prove to be an obstacle for young influencers with limited infrastructure?
I think influencers want to be influencers because they want to influence people, right? I don't think they do that bit for money. It's when they become influencers that they find avenues for making money. So it's a little bit of work, but they should be required to do that work for the payment that they're getting in terms of giving disclosures. But the problem is in something else. companies don't want you to disclose that they are paying you to do this, right? For them, the difference between running an ad and working with an influencer is that people are more likely to believe an influencer than an ad. People have banner blindness when they see banners. So they feel that people will trust something less if consumers know. But at the same time, by using influencers and not giving disclosure, they were effectively fooling people. So I think it's going to be that companies don't want disclosures. Influencers wouldn't have a problem with it.
Industry insiders believe that guidelines for influencers are a welcome step towards the regulation of an industry that has come of age. However, the guidelines should evolve with the evolving technology. While it may seem that due diligence is extra work, the influencers should practice it in earnest for the sake of transparency.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.